I'm not thinking about recording, I have a whole bunch of stories that were pretty interesting from memory, and it's like, you know, I should make a video about that. But then when I turned the camera, I was like, what was that I was gonna think about? All right, story time. What I'm gonna talk about is one of the pseudo myths of motorcycle riding. And if you watch, you know, if you do a YouTube search on motorcycle myths, one of them that comes up is that it's cheaper to ride a motorcycle. And it's somewhat true. You know, usually myths about anything have a grain of truth to them because of more common situations, or a situation that happened a few times but it was so prolific, so significant, that it just kind of became a legend, so to speak, or a myth. But you know, people who say, oh yeah, I have a friend of a friend of a friend who this happened to, so it must be true, but they themselves have not experienced that situation. So the myth I'm talking about is that it's cheaper to ride a motorcycle. You know, people say, well, the reality is it is not cheaper to ride a motorcycle. And that's true if you have the means to buy more expensive things or gear or motorcycles after you start riding. But it is true that riding a motorcycle is cheaper if you compare the foundations of riding a motorcycle. Okay, if you buy a car, say if you buy a used cars nowadays are like 10,000 bucks. But let's scoot back to the days when I first started riding a motorcycle. And I rode a motorcycle because I did not have money to buy even a used car or insure a car back at the time. So back in, say, 85, 86, a used car back then was about 800 bucks. I could find a used car for about 800, under 1,000 bucks, right? It was like a 1970s, a 12 or 15-year-old car. And insurance for it was for liability only, since, you know, if you paid it off altogether, I think I paid maybe 50, 60 bucks a month for just liability. Might have been even a little cheaper, maybe even like 30 bucks a month. I don't know. My mom paid for my auto insurance, but I remember I gave her like 30 or 40 bucks a month for it. So that's what it would have cost. It would have cost about 800 to 1,000 bucks to buy a used car, and it would have cost 50, we'll say 50 bucks a month for just liability insurance. Well, then compare that to, I bought a 250cc motorcycle from a guy I knew for $250, and it cost me 60 bucks a year to insure just liability. Not 60 bucks a month, 60 bucks a year. And I rode for like 2 years. So it can be done. Yes, you can ride a motorcycle. And of course, gas mileage for a 250 was like 50, 60 miles a gallon, maybe even higher. But you know, and of course, gas mileage on my car, I had a 1973 Chevy Nova. It got like 12 miles a gallon. So definitely it was significantly less to afford to ride a motorcycle back then. And nowadays it can still be done. You know, in relative terms, percentage-wise, it's definitely a lot more expensive, obviously, than what the prices were back in the 80s. But if you look at a used car nowadays, to get a halfway decent used car, it's about $3,000 to $4,000. You know, car's gonna have like 150,000 miles on it. Even a reliable one like a Toyota Camry, I think are about $4,000. But you can get a motorcycle for about $1,000. You can get a 250, like a Honda Rebel 250 for 1,500 bucks. If you're mechanically inclined, you might be able to find a motorcycle for 1,000 bucks. And you know, maintain it, fix it. And insurance, I have more than one motorcycle, and I pay just a little bit over $100 a year for insurance. Now this bike I'm riding now, I think the majority of what I'm paying is for this motorcycle, and it's got full coverage. And you know, it's it's still under under $100 a year to insure my motorcycle. So if I just have one motorcycle, I could definitely save a significant amount of money to have to ride a motorcycle versus having a car. But you know, obviously there are inconveniences, there are downsides to riding a motorcycle, of course, with bad weather, rain, carrying stuff, you know, cargo and stuff like that. But if you're just going to use it to commute, you can definitely save a significant amount of money, you know, on gas and insurance. Now, the other thing that they say that why it's more expensive than you think to have a motorcycle is gear. Yes, good motorcycle gear is expensive. It can be very expensive depending on what you buy. Like helmets, you can spend up to, you know, $1,000 on a super duper high-end helmet. This helmet I'm wearing now, it costs, I think I paid $200 for it. And you know, the gatekeepers of motorcycle riders will tell you, oh, never ever buy a used motorcycle helmet because you don't know when it's been through and blah blah blah, right? I've got 4 used motorcycle helmets and they work fine. You know, it's one of those things. It all depends on how you ride, and what your experience level is. And even some of the more popular motorcycle gatekeepers would say motorcycle helmets actually can last longer than what the suggested time frame is, because it's all about making money, right? Motorcycle helmet manufacturers are kind of honor among thieves kind of thing, right? So if they all say you should replace your helmet in 5 years, somebody's going to buy a helmet from somebody, right? You're going to buy a helmet from somebody, and so they'll all benefit somehow if everybody believes, oh, you have to wait 5 years. I'm not saying not to buy a new helmet every 5 years. I'm just saying I don't. But I do recommend buying a decent motorcycle helmet with a good rating. Now, you know, don't buy it off of AliExpress or Wish.com or Temu. I would go to a legit motorcycle shop and buy a decent, you know, a decent quality one. This is an HJC i10 or something like that, and I read reviews on it. Now when I bought it, I didn't do any reviews on it, but after I bought it, it's a good enough helmet for what I do. I just commute. So motorcycle helmet, I would say spend a decent amount of money on it. But when I was riding in high school, I literally used the helmet that the guy that I bought the bike from had. I have no idea what brand it was. I just knew it was a helmet. And when I bought my motorcycle when I was stationed in San Diego, they gave me a helmet too, and I have no idea what brand it was. And it was one of those like 3/4 face helmets with the shield, the snap-on shield. It didn't have a chin guard on it. Gloves. If you notice, I just got like mechanics gloves. I don't have the super duper knuckle guard, you know, bulletproof gloves. I think I paid maybe 10-12 bucks for these gloves. And a riding jacket. I do have an armor riding jacket, but mainly for hot days. It's got a mesh and it's got vent holes and stuff like that that keeps you cool. But basically I just ride with my my fake leather jacket that I had that I bought when I was in Naples, Italy, that I put all my military patches on. You know, yeah, if I was going 100 miles an hour and laid the bike down, I'd probably get some pretty bad road rash. But like I said, I just commute. I'm on a 50, maybe 60 mile an hour road, and yeah, worst case, I'm going 60 miles an hour and I have to lay it down, or somebody, you know, cut in front of me and I crashed or something. Yeah, I get hurt, but you know, for the most part, you see how far the car in front of me is. That's my normal riding distance. That's my normal safety zone. And so chances are very low that I would crash. See, I'm watching this guy, see if he's gonna pull out or not. And I'm always looking for an escape route, always. So, and then pants. I just got jeans on. I do wear, you know, I have steel-toe boots, but that's mainly for because I have to wear them at work. But if I'm just riding to ride, I would wear, you know, regular boots or closed-toed shoes. I have ridden with tennis shoes on, but if I was going to go on a long ride, I would probably wear one of my boots. But so the most I have spent, and I did buy rain gear. I bought like a $45 set of rain gear to ride in case there's a you know, in case I get hit, stuck in the rain, or I need to go somewhere, I want to go somewhere and it's raining or misting outside. But other than that, that's it. That's all I spent on my gear. As far as motorcycle specific gear, like these gloves, I did not spend money on these gloves specifically to ride a motorcycle. I just had them. And these gloves are for working on my car or doing yard work. So the only thing I specifically bought for motorcycle riding was this helmet. So what do I have? So the cheapest bike I had when I started riding again after 30 years was this helmet, and that's it. So let's put all that into a table here, right? So I've got I bought the motorcycle from a coworker for about $1,500. I put about, I would say, $300 worth of extra modifications to the motorcycle. I bought this motorcycle helmet for $200. Of course, I registered it, so I think it cost me maybe 50 bucks, 100 bucks to register it. I think when I insured the motorcycle, it was less than 50 bucks a year. and then I started riding, you know. And I could have just stopped there. So yes, it is possible to save a lot of money to ride a motorcycle, but since I have the means, you know, I bought more more bikes, and I bought a little bit more gear. But I haven't gone, I still haven't gone crazy overboard. I haven't bought full leathers, you know. I don't have a I don't know what brand Bell helmet that costs like $1,000. So you can afford to get a motorcycle and ride a motorcycle and not go crazy spending a lot of money. I would say if you wanted to start riding a motorcycle as a hobby, yeah, it's gonna cost you, I would say, $2,000 to $3,000, you know, considering the cost of gear and registration and bikes and stuff like that. But if your income level, you know, if you're on a fixed income and you don't have a car and you need a vehicle, you need a motorcycle to commute to work. And I've posted motorcycles for my motorcycles for sale, and people are like, oh, hey, you know, would you take this much? Because I just need something to go to work. And you know, and anyway, so they offered me like $1,000 for one of my bikes. So if they paid $1,000 for it, maybe $50 a year to insure it, and maybe a couple $100 for a helmet. What's that? $1,200. So maybe $1,500–$1,600 just to get started, to get you transportation so you can go back and forth to work. It can be done. So that's it. That's all I got. I'm home. Catch you later.